service is the police service. Where do you draw the line between the rule of law and a draconian state? Where does mobocracy defeat, or where does democracy surrender to mobocracy? And who polices the policeman? These are elements that cover our civil society and the way we work. And I would now request Mr. Malviya sir, if you would join us on the stage along with Abhijit Nandi Mozumdar. Thank you so much, and we have an applause for him, sir. Thank you. Abhijit, I shall now hand it over to you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Mukherjee, for that fantastic introduction, and thanks a lot for all of those, especially present out here, for today's interaction. Police are the public and the public are the police. This is today's topic, and we have Mr. Manoj Malviya, of course. This is a very, I have never interviewed Mr. Manoj Malviya like this, and never before, and a very informal person, known him for a very long time. Know more about him, so very difficult to ask him something that I don't know him about, and it's very difficult for him to answer something that I don't know about. So, why have we chosen this topic? Police are the public and public are the police. Because we expect the police to work for the public. That's what the public's expectations are. And also, if you look on the hindsight, for the police, they too expect the public to police the area, to be a very friendly neighborhood. That's what the sense of a beautiful community or police-public relationship is all about. So the first thing that I want to shoot to him, that is something, what are your expectations from the public? I mean, we have often heard about outreach to public, reaching out to people, but then as a top cop, what do you expect from the public?
First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Mukherjee and the committee of Battalion Club, Mr. Abhijit Nandi Mozumdar himself, and the esteemed members present over here for giving me this opportunity to be able to interact with you on a topic which I am sure interests everybody and concerns everyone. Now we come to the specific question that Abhijit has just raised me. First of all, again I would like to clarify that as far as I am concerned, I have come here totally impromptu. He is a very old friend of mine, as he said, but I refused to sit down with him for any kind of an interaction before I came over here. I said, you come and let people raise whatever questions they want to raise over here, and I'll try my best to answer to the queries. So, making it clear, I'm here totally impromptu. No,
great. That's great.
Now, as far as the question that he's asked me is that what does the police expect from the public? See, the expectation of the police from the public are not too many. It is the public who has many more expectations from the police, and the police have to live up to these expectations is what I personally believe. The topic here itself says the police are the public and the public are the police. So that is where you can get an answer to the question that you have raised, that the police are the public. So the police basically comprises of members of the public only. Police also is part of the community that is in which it is working and for which it is working. Police people also have their families. When they go back home, they have their friends and relatives, and they also have to face certain issues. So police is basically part of the public only. And in the same way, the second part is where you are saying that the public are the police. And this is very common about the expectations that we can also have, or the public can also have from us. So number one over here concept in this concept is that the public also is supposed to be doing the policing work all the time. They are also citizens who have to not only abide by the law but also ensure that law should be followed. This duty is cast upon police people. We are also citizens who are only wearing uniform. but the duty is the same given to us or to the members of the public by the Constitution. So there has to be an active participation of the public also in bringing matters to the attention of the police when and where it is required, and also an aspect which is not much spoken about, forgotten and not brought to your attention is that all the power and authority given to a police officer under the various laws that we have is also an authority given to the common citizen and the public. And this is something that we don't realize. Again, there are various reasons behind it, we can go into them later on. But if the policeman has a right to defend his life or somebody's life, and in exercising that right, the policeman can go ahead and even take someone's life, or in an exercise to save someone's property, the same authority by the law has been given in the law itself to each and every member of the public. Now this is something generally we are not aware about, but it is very much mentioned in the Indian Penal Code. In case you want to refer back, you can go and refer to sections which are known as general exceptions in the Indian Penal Code, where it is clearly stated that if you are a witness to a crime in which you feel that the person in front of you is going to even get a grievous injury, or if he is going to be killed, or you think that there is something going to happen which can result in the rape of a woman, you have been given a right under the Indian Penal Code to take the life of that person who is going to commit this crime. And this is considered to be self-defense. So self-defense also for the third party is allowed. So that is also where I say that public also has a role to play. It is not played very often. Once in a while it does come into play. Senior officers are there to ensure that such people are not taken to task. So the expectation of the police...
If I cut you in here, what you mentioned just now is that if we have, public has the right to defend themselves, that's what you said, right?
Definitely. Each and every right that the police has under the Constitution and in the Act has been specifically also been provided to members of the public in certain areas, largely in, as I said, in general exceptions which have been provided for defending your body and for defending your property.
So in case
you should exercise that right. Other than that, as I said, it is also not only a right but also a duty to inform the police, and we get a lot of information from the police. I'm telling you with certainty that police doesn't operate in a vacuum. We get a lot of information from the members of the public, and that is where we put it to use, and we are able to achieve our results largely based on information and inputs provided by the public. So that is as I said, what we expect from the public is, yes, definitely to be cooperative, definitely to provide us with as much information as possible, and definitely to be critical, which also happens a lot of time. Because I'm not saying that the police systems are perfect in India, and criticism is what is definitely needed by us. And I myself receive a lot of criticism about police activities from my friends, family members and others, that these are the mistakes that your police people are making, and definitely at our senior level we try and address them and see that these kind of issues are resolved.
Absolutely. So there's one big thing that you mentioned just now, that public has the right to defend themselves under the law. I think that's a major one. That's a very, very major information that is given out right now. And taking a cue from what you said, that you get a lot of information from the public, do you encourage people to come out and with information and relay them to the police? Do you encourage more police-public interaction on an information basis?
See, this again is an exercise which is carried out individually by many officers at their own level. But yes, we do have units, especially called the LIUs, the Local Intelligence Units, which have been set up all over the state. They are in every village that you know of in the state. And the people who have been recruited to work for these LIUs are members of the public. They are not regular policemen, but they are members of the public who have been recruited by us. We pay them, and we are getting a lot of information because they are members of the public. They have other jobs and duties to perform. We also definitely involve them in getting information. So this is basically going down to the village level, from where using the methods of current technology like WhatsApp and all, we encourage them to send us information. And I can tell you again for sure, a lot of information reaches us. At times, yes, the information can be misleading. So we have again a system to cipher through the information and try and get the correct information to the extent possible. So yes, definitely the public is informed by engaging them.
Absolutely. Now, moving on, as far as the criminals are concerned, I mean, we have heard about top cop, bad cop, good cop, and the criminals. So, what's your policy towards criminals? We follow a zero tolerance policy towards criminals. What's your take and what's your policy towards the criminals that are at large?
See, again in the police we have a different way of looking at criminals as the normal public would see, because our exposure to crime and seeing crime and also the human psychology behind the commission of crime makes us take a slightly different approach that a normal person will take, that we don't really treat each and every criminal as a criminal. There is zero tolerance to crime, but I will not say that we have a zero tolerance towards a criminal. A criminal also is a human being. This is an aspect that we definitely look into. When a criminal becomes hardened, then we have to take certain special measures to ensure that the rowdy activities which are coming out of such criminals or any their acts, they are curtailed. But there are other categories of criminals who definitely need not only our sympathy but also the sympathy of the public. And most of the time the public is also very understanding when it comes to aspects like this. And we again work in a number of community programs that the police runs to help such criminals come back into the mainstream and again lead normal lives.
So what you're saying is that you're classifying criminals. Some are very hardened criminals to which you follow a very zero tolerance policy, and some are criminals who you want to kind of bring them back into the main fold, isn't it?
Something like that. As I said, some of the crimes committed by people, any crime committed makes a person a criminal. But there are certain categories of crime, like I would say, one of the areas you can look into is usage of drugs. A person who's caught for usage of drugs is a criminal, but he's also a victim. So now in which manner are you supposed to look at him is you decide over here in the field. By and large what we do is that people who are trying to run the cartel, who are trying to push the drugs, they are the ones we will treat as hardcore criminals. The end users, we are trying to treat more as victim. At once in a while you hear even the end users do get arrested. If somebody is found in possession of a certain drug, the person will be arrested. But whether to look at him with an eye of a criminal or not, I gave you one example, there are many some similar examples. So we have a slightly different approach when you talk of crime and criminals and we look at people. We first look at them as human beings and then later on decide whether he has to be put in a hardened criminal category or whether he has to be treated more in a more human manner.
Now you have a very wide and varied experience as a police officer over the years, and now you're a top court state. How to look at the corruption, not only in the police force, the corruption in general, as we see it. I mean, corruption in the police, corruption in the general amongst general administration, and then corruption amongst the people. They're saying that if you bribe somebody, person taking a bribe is committing an equal offense as the person giving a bribe. So how do you look at those? How, in your experience so far, and what's your listening on it?
See, for corruption, we have a zero tolerance policy, and even I have a zero tolerance policy. But when the statement was made by the gentleman called Robert Peel made this statement somewhere in the early 1800s. At the time when the London Metropolitan Police was being set up, it was supposed to be a very friendly police, and it is on him that it is still called Bobby. It was a friendly police being set up. You should remember India at that time was not under direct British rule, it was under East India Company. They came a few years later, and then after 1857, then the laws were framed when we came under the British rule, and we followed their same system. But when this statement was made around the same time, a French gentleman by the name of Joseph Master also made a statement, and his statement basically was that in a democracy, people get the kind of government they want. In fact, the language he used was they deserve, I prefer the word they want. And the same applies to the police also. That by and large, being members of the same society and community, people also get the kind of police they want. Now, specifically to corruption is definitely, as I said, something to which all of us should have zero tolerance. You're right, the person giving the bribe is also as much liable as the person taking the bribe. But this is something again which has become a part of current democracies in many parts of the world. And we are slowly and steadily finding ways to get rid of it. But as of now, in the police or outside the police, What you see is a phenomena which is existing in society in all fields. It is also there in the police. I am not denying it is not there. But the scale is maybe a little lower, though more rampant, but a little lower because of the numbers and because of the fact that the person is in a uniform. He is very easy identifiable. So this is the issue that we all have to definitely fight together and go with the zero tolerance policy for it. And slowly the country is moving towards a direction where the people are not accepting corruption much, and I personally feel in time to come definitely this will be a problem which will be addressed by the nation. So this is the problem of the society, which police being a reflection of society also reflects in the police forces as much as it is reflecting in other spheres of the society.
See, if somebody reports a corrupt practice in the police, so you take a very strong action against them.
Definitely, we have a zero tolerance policy. The moment it is reported, it is in writing, and an FIR is registered and action is taken. Other than that, the state also has, in the last few years, set up something called the ACB, the Anti-Corruption Bureau, which was earlier not there in the state. Earlier, all matters of corruption were handled only by a vigilance commission, which did not really have power in it, because they were not entitled to register cases under the IPC sections. Now the state has set up a new unit called the Anti-Corruption Bureau, and this ACB unit has of late been going around registering cases, and we intend in this year to come to strengthen it to an extent that it becomes noticeable to the members of the public. I am pretty sure very soon you will be seeing results coming out of this. This is a very new unit, and that is not much heard of, but it is being strengthened as we are speaking now. And action taken by it against corrupt officials will definitely be visible to the members of the public.
That's great. So then we heard something about, we had a jurisdictional problem initially when we had one Thana saying that this falls under the jurisdiction of another police station, and another police station saying this doesn't fall under our jurisdiction, so the people has to go around and around in circles. So now that jurisdiction problem has been taken care of. Can you just elaborate a bit on that, because not many people may not know about it?
See, again, the jurisdiction problem is the problem between the officers in charge of the police station. So at times he feels it has happened on the boundary, and so if I register a crime, my crime rate will go up, so it's better if I can pass it on to the other police station. At our senior level, it doesn't make a difference whether it is in this police station or so. The moment it comes to our attention, or I mean to say any of the senior police officers function, we immediately ensure where the FIR is to be lodged, and it is lodged.
But in such a case, in the new scenario, isn't it that if you did not go to one particular, supposing it happens in some police station, you can go to a nearest police station and lodge a complaint, you can do that?
You can do that. It's called a zero FIR. You can lodge it. It will be transferred by us then to the relevant police station. So that is also there. But in a city like Calcutta, where police station area and jurisdiction is very small, about Calcutta police in particular, because most of the members in the audience will be more interested about what happens in Calcutta police. So the areas of the police stations are very small, 1 square kilometer, 2 square kilometer. It's not very difficult to go and register a FIR in an area which is the correct police station area. And I don't think that really creates much of a problem here. It creates more of a problem in the districts where the areas are huge.
So now, Manoj, you want to know how safe is Bengal vis-a-vis the rest of the country?
See, then you have to go by what is known as the NCRB figures. It's the National Crime Record Bureau, run by the Government of India and not run by the state government. And they maintain a comparative analysis of the recording of crime in each and every state. Now, if you go by the NCRB data, Bengal has figured to be among the top states as far as the number of less crimes are reported. We are among the better states. Top in the sense that we are better. Number two, a question which I very ask often to a number of people who are again my acquaintances and friends in the city. And this happened even day before yesterday evening. Some of my friends had come from, some very eminent friends had come from Delhi, and there was a get together. Some very eminent people of the city were also present over there, and this topic came up. And this is something that didn't come up that day. It has come up very often before also, and I keep on asking the same question to friends and acquaintances. I mean, do you feel safe in the city or not? A universal answer, at least I get, and I don't know what will be the answer over here, is that yes, we do feel safe in the city. We are 100% sure that we are safe in the city, which can also be reflected in the fact that this is one of the cities where your clubs and nightclubs used to remain open till 6 in the morning, even in the 1990s. And you could have girls and boys walking out of the clubs and girls taking cabs at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, not feeling scared because they were sure that this is a city which is safe. So you do hear of incidents at times. Recently also something had happened which had attracted a lot of media attention. Certain incidents which do happen in remote areas. The media definitely reports them and they have every right to report it. But these are stray incidents, and I can assure you that the police in West Bengal very, very promptly reacts to these incidents without having any kind of a bias. That is the kind of freedom that even the government has provided. We ensure that any crime which has happened is dealt with immediately and in the correct manner. Our response rate is much faster than any other agency which operates in India. I can say that for sure. I don't want to go into specific instances, but even in recent crimes which have happened, even in the recent crimes which had happened and which were handed over to central agencies, again will not name the agencies, they were handed over on the basis of court orders within a period of 48 hours or 72 hours. In that time frame, the progress that the state police had made was almost near completion of detection of the crime, arrest of all the persons who were accused and directly involved in the case, and completing all of the formalities like completing the postmortem as per the report of the Supreme Court that it has to be done with videography and various other conditions. And after that the cases were handed over to the central agencies. Now in some cases I can tell you years have gone by, in some cases weeks have gone by, and I can tell you from my knowledge, you also know it from your knowledge because you also follow in the newspaper, no further means no further progress was made because of the fact, I'm not blaming the agency because already the state police had done whatever had to be done. So I again ask everyone to have faith in the police because at our senior level, definitely, without any doubt, as I said, police, the police or the public, we are also part of the same community that we are serving in. We also feel in the same manner in which you feel. If a heinous crime is reported, every senior police officer, I can give you for sure, is on the same page. We talk the same language. It hurts us as much as it hurts you. And so, if you were in the position of the chair as a police officer, whatever action you would have taken, you rest assured that we always try and achieve the same action. So this is the effort that is made at our level. A lot of time matters are the media reports cases in a certain different way, which is, again, I never blame the media because they have a job to do. It keeps us alert on our toes. But the fact behind most of the crimes is the senior police officers definitely have each and every intention to see that the crime is worked out and justice is met to the extent possible.
So which means to say that West Bengal police and the West Bengal different agencies like the CID and other agencies can matches up to the agencies at the center, and they have got at par or if not better than the central agencies.
I will not say better, but definitely we are as good as any other agency in India. And it reflects in a number of investigations that we have carried out, which have been handed over, in which, as I said, no further progress we saw was made. Because, again, I said the progress was not made, not because the agencies are not capable of doing it, because already everything that was required to be done had been done.
So moving on to a topic which affects the members of the public, especially people like us who are very tech savvy and we always move on in a technical situation. This cyber attack, cyber criminals. So now, things like there's been a lot of complaints about phishing attacks and things like that. Especially it affects your bank account. They ask you to share your OTP. So there are numerous. They have also mentioned about not giving out your OTP and things like that. But despite all of these campaigns, people have lost money. And then now there are two things into it. Number one is that when this cyber attack takes place, how can we defend ourselves? A, and B is even if we lose money in that, if somebody gets lured into that, then how is there a process of getting back the money?
You see, this is again a very interesting area which interests, I think, everybody over here, cyber crimes. These are the new crimes which have come. And yes, a lot of people are getting affected because of that. The police has been gearing up to respond to this. And in gearing up to respond to this, we have been able to set up in the last 3 years in the 34 police districts. I'm not counting Calcutta Police, they have separate units. The 28 police districts of West Bengal and the 6 commissionerates which are under West Bengal Police. In all 34 of them, we have been able to set up what is known as a cyber crime police station. So this has been set up. Apart from that, we have set up another crime police station, cyber crime police station in the headquarters over here, which is the CID. And this one is the data mobile police station center. And we have been able to equip them with all the necessary data, the equipment that they require. We have been able to provide them with all the equipment for taking immediate action when this kind of a crime is reported. Now, the whole nation is responding to this, and keeping that in mind, recently a national emergency number has been set up. And it is a very interesting development which again members of the public will be able to realize its benefit, because it is again a new measure which has been set up by the government of India, and we have also linked to it that 155260 system, which is a cyber crime police helpline. Now in this helpline which has been set up in Delhi, we have been able to recently link it up to all the relevant agencies which are involved in which a cyber crime happens, which includes all the banks, all the major your apps through which people are buying, whether it is Amazon, Flipkart, and every state has been linked to it. You can call anywhere from India 155260, and immediately all necessary action to blocking your card, to doing whatever, is automatically done because it is automatically linked to the various agencies. So this is again, we are fighting this menace. It is a new menace. I will not say that today we are fully equipped to stop it totally. It happens on a daily basis. In fact, like before coming over here, 3 hours before, there one of the constables who works in the police headquarters came to me. He's a constable who is working in the police headquarters in an armed police unit, and he fell victim to the same kind of phishing attack that we talk about. We try and educate. You said, how do we do it? We try and educate the public. Further education is required. He also tried to buy something from Flipkart, and then he was not being able to get a confirmation, so he checked up a number on the internet, called up that number thinking it is a support desk help number of Flipkart, and over there he provided his card detail and his PIN. So these people are so smart, they talk you into it. These spam attacks, these phishing attacks, basically what they do is they'll call you up, they'll engage you in a conversation, and they are able to get out your own PIN card from you or your own password from you by asking you to download a particular site and fill it up over there, and it goes to them. They tried to take out 1,30,000 from his saving. They were able to take out 70,000, and by meantime he had come running, and so immediately we used the 155260 system. We were able to block 60,000, which also otherwise would have been transacted, but it happened only because he came immediately. And yeah, when it comes to recovery, again, though the banks have been told that you must return when it is reported on time, but again, sadly it is not happening as of now in every case, but in some of the major cases we are able to see that the money is also returned to the concerned people, especially if it has gone out on a phishing attack through the banks.
Okay, so there's the national helpline number, which is very important, which if somebody falls prey to this cyber crime, they can always call up the national helpline number, and then it goes. Can you just get out the number once more?
It's 155260. We will be advertising. West Bengal has connected itself to this number sometime back. Last year this was started somewhere in October. We have already linked up to this number. First we linked up from a 10 to 6 basis. About a month back we made it a 24/7 helpline, and we majorly plan to advertise this. What was earlier 100 is also being changed to 112, which also is not, the public is not aware about it, but nationally 100 has now become 112. And we are also linking up 112 to this 155260. So if somebody calls only there is not aware about the number, he can be immediately directed to, the call can be diverted to this number. So we are also trying to get up, as I said, this is a new phenomenon. People fall prey.
112 being registered in Bengal?
Yes, it has been registered. We have set up an emergency response system in Bhavani Bhavan. It's a massive center that we have recently come up with, worth visiting, and over there we are receiving hundreds and thousands of calls on a daily basis, which we are trying to run, and we are sending up ERSSs in every district as we are talking. So 112 is something that we are planning to take more effective. It is on the line of what is there in the United States of America. We are trying to copy their system.
So if somebody falls into a problem, they can call up 112.
112. 112 is going to be not the police number, the national police number. All of it is
And
already.
1002 exists?
100, we are also continuing right now till such time that people are fully aware about it, because if we remove 100, that may not be very productive. So right now if somebody calls 100, that also goes to 112. So 112 is the center now, where all these calls are coming.
Absolutely. And secondly, in the social media circuit, a lot of people are lured into different kind of, your photographs are more often put up in the social media circuit, and then all sorts of things happen in the social media. So we have heard about sites being pulled down, sites being monitored. So what is the status right when somebody falls prey to such kind of activity, such kind of blackmailing technique? So what does one go and how to take it forward?
In this area, definitely the police has become very sensitized and is taking action, especially when it comes to destroying somebody's reputation or going after someone and harassing them. And definitely when it comes to the attention of the police, we are being able to track down all such people who use social media networks to harass. In fact, last week only, we had the entire team of Meta from Bombay and all over India. And Meta is what handles now Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. They had gone down and they had an interaction with me personally, then with the CID team, and next day with the Calcutta police team for the entire day. And this is one of the special reasons that we have taken their help, that when people fall victim to their reputation being attacked using these social medias, we want a very prompt action, and they have been very, very promising, very, very helpful. In fact, we have one of the coordinators from the team present over here also as we are sitting, who helped us coordinate with the Facebook team, Mr. Neil Roy. He's present over here. So, and now we also intend to bring in the remaining social media network teams and have a similar kind of a meeting with them in the coming week, which includes Twitter and other areas that have been left out. So we are now in a position to be able to track down the perpetrators of such kind through social media and through such platforms in which a person thinks he is hiding and he cannot be tracked.
So social media, if the members of the public fall prey to such kind of activity, where does one go? How do you register a complaint? Do you go to a local police station, or do you go to a cyber agency, or can you do it on the internet? And can you file a complaint online?
See, normally people go to their local police station only, because unless and until they're living in a city. If you are from a district, then maybe the cyber police station is about an hour away, so you don't have to go to the cyber police station. The complaint is received at the police station, and the police station immediately transfers it to the district cyber police station, because they are equipped with handling this kind of an issue. But I am assuring you that in my personal knowledge, I have come across hundreds of such instances, my personal knowledge, and each and every one of them we were able to track down and bring to justice.
Moving on from cyber to moving on to another area which bothers again members of the public, is the traffic situation. So, traffic situation. The traffic situation has been cause of concern, and a lot of research has gone into it, various parts. So, firstly, how do you see traffic situation from your point of view in Bengal, in Kolkata and Bengal?
Again, you're on a very topic which is of matter of great concern to us, and again from what I see, because I also travel a lot all over India. Now, there was a time when people used to say that Calcutta traffic is one of the worst, and they used to say that this city is also, people used to say, there have been comments from luminaires who would call it a dying city, you know. Things have improved a lot, and in fact, and I'm sure members of this prestigious institution who are present over here also travel all over India. You go to Bombay, you go to Bangalore, you go to Hyderabad, you go even to Delhi. At least my personal feeling is that traffic in Calcutta moves far better than any of these cities. we have evolved a traffic police system in Calcutta, which is very, very good. This was a system which was set up right in the beginning when traffic was not a matter of concern. At the time of independence, the number of vehicles on our roads were very few. And the infrastructure that was left to us as a legacy by the British was not geared up to what a modern infrastructure should be, which you see in any country. If you go to Europe, you go to any of the nearby nations also, their infrastructure was built for a different purpose. Ours was only built, the railway lines, to take the material from the entire nook and corner of the city to the ports. So the transport infrastructure in India was not very good at the time of our independence. The number of vehicles was also very low, and because attention perhaps was not paid properly at that time to urban development and planning, the roadsides were encroached upon by people, and because of the democratic right of people and the concern for human beings' lives and their property, it came to a position where widening of roads had become near impossible. In the meanwhile, the traffic has increased many, many folds. Now again, we are reacting to that. In Bengal, there were hardly, other than Calcutta Police, which was very strongly equipped, the percentage of police personnel in Calcutta for traffic is one of the highest anywhere in India, beats any other city flat. If you go to Delhi, which is the capital, you'll never see a traffic policeman on any corner. Here in Calcutta, you will find a traffic policeman on every corner, you will find traffic sergeants. We have perfected ways of one-way traffic systems, which again you will not see in any other city. And I would not say that there are traffic jams in Calcutta. At times there can be a little delay for other reasons, but traffic jams are not to be seen, which you will come across in other cities. So Calcutta has done a great job. As far as the rest of the state is concerned, from having less than 50 traffic guards, in the last 2 years itself, we have been able to raise another 200 sanctioned and some unsanctioned traffic guards, and the number is now about 253 traffic guards that we have. We have been able to recruit a lot of people directly for traffic purpose, and so the percentage of traffic policemen in West Bengal has risen from 1% to close to 9% of the entire force. In terms of sheer number, it has risen from about 500 to 5,500 traffic policemen who are regular policemen. Plus, a new initiative which was taken by this government a few years back was to take people as civil volunteers, which is again part of community policing. Police being the public, public being the police. Civic volunteers were taken, and we have about 15,000 civic volunteers who assist these traffic, the 5,500 policemen, only for traffic duty. At the same time, there are infrastructural problems which do create a problem in some areas. We are studying those problems. We have a regular meeting. There are 2-3 bottleneck points in West Bengal which need to be attended to, not only by just deployment of police people, but also by making infrastructural changes over there. Like Dankani is there, nearby Satragachi is there, the T point where the road meets is there. Between Surya and Rampurhat there is, we have now a proper traffic unit which is studying these problems, how to remove the infrastructural delays, and to see that police people in traffic uniform are posted in sufficient number at all these places to ease out the traffic restrictions. So we are paying a lot of attention to it. I will not say that we have been able to fully achieve our target, but I am sure that in time to come we will be able to provide a much better traffic management system than what was earlier existing and what is there today.
The traffic fines have gone up immensely, and but do you have that kind of infrastructure? Because when you say you cross the stop line, for stop line violation you have certain kind of fines. For crossing, for going into next lane, you have another kind of fine. Of two-wheelers, three persons on two-wheelers, you have a certain kind of fine. So do we have the infrastructure to implement those fines, or do you have, because most areas we don't see any stop lines?
See, fines when they're raised are raised by the government as a matter of policy. And earlier the fines were very, very abysmally low. Now, if for violating, a study which was done about 3-4 years back by our Union Transport Minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, which is available on internet, any one of you can see. That study itself says that more than 75% of the driving licenses in India are fake. In that study they found. The penalty for owning a fake driving license is rupees 100 as per the MV Act. Now how does it deter a person from then obtaining himself a fake driving license if this is the kind of fine? So he himself argued and recently has been able to get it amended. The fine has been raised, the punishment has been raised. 1 month imprisonment or 100 rupees fine. Who will care? So fines and punishment, they have definitely been redefined recently by increasing the amounts in both of them, and similarly an effort has been made by various governments also to raise the fines so that we don't want to be all the time punishing. We want people to be law-abiding themselves. So by increasing the fine, the onus is again on the citizen, which could even be me tomorrow. In fact, I have also had to face traffic fines in Delhi, where when I go at times I'm not in a police vehicle and I'm in my own personal, and I have to pay them. There's no way out. And yes, definitely you have systems now. Slowly the technology is taking over. Modern technology is taking over, and it is helping us in many fields, including in the area of traffic, by installation of these CCTVs from which we are getting a recording of violations, which are quite accurate. It's like the third umpire decision in cricket, that now you cannot deny that you committed this violation and for which the fine has to be paid.
That's a very dangerous revelation. 75% of the driving license are fake. That means people behind the wheels are novice drivers and accidents can happen any time.
So that is why the now drive has been carried out to curb this menace also, but still it is there. It's not deniable, it is there. So we have to come up with now biometrics in your driving licenses, which is what the government has now indicated. So that I think will help reduce this menace.
No, one area is like we all believe a city bustling with life, or should all bustling and bubbling with life, should also have a good nightlife. So when you have a nightlife, when you have the discos and the pubs all in operation, so you also have people taking a couple of pegs and driving. I mean, you don't always have a driver driving you back from your bar or your pub back home. So in such a case, you have a situation of drunken driving, which I will not confess I have ever got, but people having a peg can also put into a limit of drunken driving. So how do you respond to that? Because there is a general feeling that if you take a couple of pegs and drive, and you are in your senses and you are doing well, then you might as well. I mean, there's a very thin, very straight, thin line on that.
See, when you are drunk, whether you can drive or not is very difficult for me to comment because I am a teetotaler. So I don't know when you drink whether you can drive or not. But at the same time, see, you are putting somebody else's life at risk, and that is the reason why this is a deterrent measure which we definitely encourage that you should not drive when you are drunk. If you go abroad to any of your friends and relatives, you will find that people over there also, when they go out for a party or when they go out to a club and they drive their own car, but in the night if they are walking out and they feel that they are drunk, nobody drives their own car back. They leave the car over there, take a cab and return. So I personally feel like yes, you definitely should not drive in case the alcohol has a certain influence on you. And if the cops catch you on the drunken driving, I don't see why anyone should have a problem with that.
But I was wondering if you can up the limit a bit because you definitely if you get a beer and you drive off.
That seems to be more of your personal concern. I don't think it's from the members of the public.
No, and bringing to that, the situation is how safe are we in Kolkata? If you get into the nightlife, if you get stretched beyond midnight, we had a couple of incidents, but okay, we can say it was a stray incident because it happened a couple of times in the last 2-3 years. But as of now, how safe do you think Bengal and Kolkata is? The nightlife of Bengal?
I think I spoke on this right in the beginning that you should ask the members of the public whether they feel safe in the city or not. Most of the people I know, they all said we feel very safe in the city.
Even during the night you feel so?
Even during the night.
Do you have the cops patrolling in the night?
Yes, definitely you have cops patrolling in the night. You move out very often, I assume so in the night you will find cops out on the prominent areas, especially when clubbing is allowed up to a certain hour. We also definitely ensure that police pickets are placed at vital points over there, because the presence of a policeman makes a lot of difference. Give you an example, like, let's say, this is again coming from an experience that I saw. I was sitting on the beach in Goa with some of my friends who are present over here. So there was a group of 4 or 5 boys, seemed to have come from somewhere, sitting and were indulging in some kind of activities. They were trying to smoke up something, and they were trying to pass comments on girls who were going by. And then suddenly we saw one lone policeman, a constable in uniform with the lathi in his hand, strolling slowly by the beach. It's coming. The moment he became visible, this whole group of boys, they were talking to the police, and that man slowly strolled by. It took about 15 minutes. And for 15 minutes, these people were very well disciplined by nothing that the cop had done. So the presence of police itself is definitely something which prevents a person from even thinking of committing a small minor crime or an offense like this. So that is the reason we do keep police people posted at various points, and they are available in the night when clubs and all are getting over, especially on like such nights, Saturday nights and other nights. We definitely, and in fact on every night, you will see that nakas have been placed, and the presence of the police is the idea to prevent this kind of an incident.
Absolutely. On that note, I'll throw it open to the public, but with a couple of just a brief note on that. Please do not ask any political questions. A B is please identify yourself, and you are free to ask any question that you want. So I see a hand coming. I can hardly see anybody, but I can see a hand right there. Can somebody put the mic to the gentleman, please? Can somebody take the mic to the gentleman, please?
I would like to thank the Director General of Police for having his time around. Dhruva Mukherjee, member of the club and a private citizen. We thank you, sir, for having taken time out. But I regret to say that the comments I have to make will be less than congratulatory on the basis of my personal experiences over the last 4 months. Therefore, I take that thing with a bit of cynicism. Number one, I have a factory, and there have been a spate of thefts in recent times. We were asked to increase the number of CCTVs. Dutifully, we did that, and finally got a picture of the thief. We gave it to the police. The thefts continued. We tried to lodge an FIR, which was not received or accepted by the local thana. Maybe very low standing of West Bengal in terms of crime is also related to the fact that thanas do not accept complaints. Number 2, road safety. I drove down from Jamshedpur today.
Dhruva, can you just cut it short on that? Where is your factory? And although this is a one-off case,
There are certain sensitive issues here rather not.
but then he won't be able to figure that out.
I'd rather discuss it in private. It will not glorify the police, but the rest of it, what I have to say is. I drove down from Jamshedpur today, and I found the roads. You actually have driving tests on the highways with the wiggle bottles. You also have them on the cities. Now they're a dangerous addition to high-speed highways, and I fail to understand their purpose. Number 3, I had to apply for an arms license renewal. That was in November 7. It goes through the routine police verification process. I understand the police verification has been done, but I have been summoned to the local thana to meet with certain indications given. So you will understand why I'm very cynical about that. Thank you, sir.
All your concerns are, I would say that I accept all your concerns. I'm not here to glorify the police. As I said, that there are weaknesses in our system, and we try and address them. As far as the issue of theft in your factory is concerned, as Vijay said, if you could let me know where it is happening. There are many reasons behind your statement that police is reluctant at the police station level to lodge FIRs is by and large correct. It happens not only in Bengal, it happens all over India. at the same time, the volume of cases that are registered is also not small. You have to bear in mind that India is one of the countries where the percentage of police as per population is one of the lowest in the world because of our very huge population. So in West Bengal, like you have one policeman per 1,000 population is the kind of figure that we have. The number is few. The number of cases registered, as I said, are very high. There is a National Police Commission which has recommended that each police station should have as many sub-inspectors that can handle registration and investigation of 8 FIRs in every month. All I can tell you is that yes, every police station in Bengal, the number of police personnel that we have is minimal in the sense that yes, each one of them does have to handle about 8 FIRs every month for investigation. So there are certain constraints that we do have. And your concerns on all three aspects are correct. These are all issues that we try and address to, and I'm quite sure in time to come we'll be able to do something about it. There are a lot of cases which come to me where thefts have happened, and we are able to not only arrest the person, recover the goods, and there are also cases which happen like the one you said where at times the police has not been so attentive. So I'm sorry that this happened to you, but I'll see that what can be done if it comes more to my attention. Regarding roads, again, the infrastructure part, as I said, is not totally in the hand of the police. The road infrastructure has been improving in India. Again, one of the ministries has been doing an outstanding job in coming up with new roads. And from what I spoke, it was that we are trying to place the policemen at all points, so there still are bottlenecks and problems to ease out whatever situation is there to the extent possible.
You were mentioning about those barriers, road barriers, rail barriers that will be guardrails that will be put up in different.
See, guardrails again, why they have been put up, the number of accidents which happen on the road is one of the biggest killers in India. On an average, I can tell you a 100-kilometer stretch of national highway in India takes a life per day. So number of people who die in road accidents in India is very, very high. There are many reasons behind it. One of the reasons also is, as I said, that a lot of people who are driving these lorries are not really so well trained. They have very tough hours also. So in West Bengal, you must have heard we launched this drive also for Safe Drive, Save Life. Now, keeping that in mind, wherever we feel that there is a tendency for people to speed up where the roads become okay, in order to cut that down, we do place traffic guards to cut down the speed. At times they are unscientifically placed also, which can themselves cause a traffic jam. It has come to my attention on certain points where I have instructed the local district police to remove such kind of traffic guards which are unscientifically placed.
Thank you very much. Anybody else ask me a question? But I just have a request. Please do not ask single specific questions because it's very difficult if I am facing a problem in a particular police area. It's very difficult to answer. So somebody.
I have the mic.
Yeah.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Vishwajit Shendukto. I walked in late. I don't know whether you have answered this already. You mentioned that the presence of police acts as a deterrent. That's true. But what about cyber crime? I would like to know how you are handling it, because there are many senior citizens out here, because we don't get to see the physical presence of the policeman there. Is it something happens when something has happened that you step in, or are there safeguard measures around it?
Yeah. He's already. Vishwajit has already answered that. We have spoken a lot about cyber crimes. What I suggested, there are some others who
I'll take it up separately.
Yeah, so once the session is over, we'll take it up with you on that as well. We'll have the mic.
I'll speak it up. First of all, I want to congratulate you as the top office bearer of the police in the state about safety in West Bengal. I completely agree that as a state we've done excellently, and it's one of the few areas, quite frankly, where West Bengal is doing well. As far as the state is concerned, I have a question not relating to traffic or people, but relating to elephants.
Related to?
Elephants.
Elephants.
West Bengal has 2% of the population of elephants in the country and 20% of the deaths. A lot of the deaths are because of deliberate electrocution by farmers, many of whom are on illegally occupied land, and they electrocute the elephants because they lose paddy to the elephants. Now, the reason I'm asking you this question, sir, is that the forest department is put in front as the department that should be taking care of this. Whereas in our simple-minded view, it's a crime, it's a murder, and the police should be the ones who should be leading the charge. And yet this doesn't happen. We find over and over again across the state that the forest department is the one that is made to carry the burden of investigating and taking penal action rather than the police. So I'd like your comments on that.
This is a topic which can go into discussion in itself. How to save our planet and how to save our animals, and even the elephants are becoming an endangered species. This is something more typical what happens in North Bengal. All I can tell you is that you are correct that this is basically a problem to be addressed by the forest department, and they definitely need the police support in order to address to this menace. There is a clear instruction from us and especially from me, especially for North Bengal, to take care of not only elephants but various other aspects over there which affect the environment and the human beings as a race. So even felling of trees and various other issues which happen in North Bengal, the forest department is being provided with full support and full help by the police department. We keep on holding meetings with them and keep on asking them whether they need our help. So that is what you're saying is correct. It does happen. Even over there, herds of elephants move around at times that they're crossing a railway track and the train hits them, which is just an accident. But deaths happen because of that also, which is also very sad. So we are in the police definitely there to help the forest department. But this issue, as I said, can take a full session of arguments and discussions between us.
So is there a law against the farmer that he said that they are being deliberately electrocuted? Is there a law which can, which we can find?
There is an act of animal cruelty in which if somebody does report, action can be taken. Normally the complaint has to be brought to us through the forest department, but it can also directly be given. There are various agencies in India which are working to that. Ms. Menka Gandhi has been very active for not only elephants but even for stray dogs and various other animals. She was of late involved about camel trade which was happening across our border. And camel is also an endangered species. We went out of the way to help her agency and we were able to bring an end to this menace which was happening in districts like Malda and Uttar Dinajpur. And she has been very appreciative of the fact that West Bengal police has been able to bring this menace to a near stop. But also she is apprehensive that if we are not careful again in time, it might happen. So let's see, it's a catch and mouse game.
Yeah.
Sir, my name is D.L. Moitro. I would ask a very simple question, but in no way to offend you. The police in Calcutta owe their allegiance to the political parties. There's no doubt about that. Your responsibilities are curbed. I have seen a lot of local ruffians treating respectable officers with great disrespect. What is the answer that you have for this? Do you have an answer? Or there is no answer to it? And the second question is that a large number of people who are affiliated to some political party or some other agency have been caught in the wave of corruption. Charges have been filed against them. They have been sent to jail. They get bail. They come out and the case is closed. Does the police have any hand in this or no? Thank you.
So this is a very general observation you made. We can only discuss this in specifics. If you have any specific case you need to discuss, I'll say that we can do it in person. But otherwise, police also doesn't operate in a vacuum, it operates in society. And at our senior levels, I can tell you that you may have this feeling that police or other agencies of the government are totally politicized. It is actually not so. There's a very healthy interaction at our senior level. Basically, if you see what the bureaucracy was set up was to assist the government which comes into power all over India. So there is a government which is elected by you. As I mentioned earlier, the statement which was given by Joseph Master was, people will get the kind of government they want and deserve. So you bring in the government that you have elected. You deserve is the word he used. So you get the kind of government you deserve. And the government over there, then once it comes into power, is supposed to cater to your needs. Bureaucracy is there to provide help to this government. So there is the interaction definitely between the politicians and the bureaucrats. I can assure you again at our senior level, the interactions are very healthy and which helps not only us develop a lot of respect for them, but for also them to have a lot of respect to us. At the lower levels, again as I said, it's all a reflection of the society that you see around times. What you are saying also could be correct. But again, I can assure you, anything at our level, very rarely you will see that anything like this is happening at the top level. Then there are certain other political issues because of which cases that you mentioned happen. I would not like to dwell into them because that is again a matter of discussion which is I think a little beyond open discussion over here.
Absolutely.
There's a question here.
I'm Sangeeta Jain and I used to run a furniture factory in 29A Rakhada Sati Road. In 2019 on the 1st of April I saw the factory, there was a new shutter and locks had been put. So I complained to the Chetla police and I had done an FIR. And they didn't really cooperate. They said, this is a civil suit, and they sent me from pillar to post. Then with my lawyers and all, we did several cases and things, and the hearing was on the 6th of April. And 21st March there was lockdown. So I was paying rent on the rent control, and my factory full of inventory, tools, machines, and furniture ready to be dispatched to clients all went. And the person, the landowner, he's a local gunda out there, his wife, he got his wife to physically throw me out, and I was advised not to do a criminal case, and it's been like that. We had this factory from 1997, I have the agreement papers, I just don't know how to go about it now. And I didn't have the capacity to fight.
Did you meet a local DC ever in this entire process, the Deputy Commissioner of Police?
I met whoever was there. There was one Mr. Mazumdar in Chetla, and whatever the lawyers advised me, I did that, but I just ran from pillar to post, going to the court and waiting, and I just lost.
I appreciate your concern. Again, what I will say is that police, public expects the police to be the first defender.
No, I asked them at least stop them from taking over till things are sorted out and whatever is just is done.
Ma'am, in this case, what happens is you have a local DC, Deputy Commissioner of Police, that we can talk this out after the session, because then there is very specifics involved in this. In your case, you have to go to the local DC who will...
And the person involved is has a lot of clout in that area. No one will, help you out.
But I'm sure ma'am, when you go to the local DC, he is there to protect you. He's got the jurisdiction over your place, and he's going to definitely take some.
This happened in 2019. Now it's because of lockdown and things.
What I suggest is you take it up personally with me. In your case, I will ensure that you are provided the necessary help.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the interactions which you are having. I'm Rashmi. I'm a member of the club. My concern is that over the past few years, we are finding a lot of transgenders in the various traffic points, which are actually becoming it's a concern for all of us. On many occasions, we find that they pass unwelcome remarks. But when we have traveled to many other cities, this is not the case. So, on one hand, yes, there is a living for which they are doing it, but definitely from the civilian side, it is not a very welcome step. So, what is police are you doing to curb this kind of a situation?
This is a very sensitive and a very old issue, nothing new, and it is there in other cities, I can assure you for sure. When I travel to other cities, I'm also a member of public like you. And I have also seen this happen, what you're saying is correct, but of late there is again a lot of sensitization towards the transgender people and community, and they have to be brought into the mainstream, which has not happened. Their only means of livelihood is by indulging into such acts, which are, like I'll say, a shade better than beggary, but this is the way that the society has treated them for a long time, and they have no other means to resort to for their own income. So society is, as I said, very sensitized to the problem, and we are gearing up, we are allowing them jobs in the police, we are allowing them to become members of parliaments and MLAs, and I am sure that this is a problem that society has to handle more than the police. So this is my personal take on it.
Good evening, Mr. Malviya, and a very good evening to everybody present here. I am Samya Mitra. I am a lawyer and a lecturer in a law college. I have two questions. Firstly, how far successful has the West Bengal Police been in tackling the problem of women trafficking in West Bengal? Secondly, as under Section 46 of the Criminal Procedure Code, a woman cannot be arrested after sunset, that is the period between sunset and sunrise. But there is no corresponding legal provision that says that a woman who has fallen a victim to any criminal offense or any kind of offense during the period of darkness, there is no provision that says that she need not go to the police station to register a complaint during that particular period. So what does that imply? Does it imply it is imperative for such a female victim to go to the police station during that period between sunset and sunrise to register a case? If not, do you think that a special provision to that effect must be made, which should make it very, very clear that a female victim need not go to the police station during the period of sunset to sunrise to go and register a case? Thank you.
See, women trafficking is an issue which personally concerns me a lot and concerns all of us a lot. And yes, Bengal and Bangladesh, they have been a route for women trafficking for a long time. Now, I have myself studied this phenomenon personally, and we try and sensitize all police people to take action. What basically is happening most of the time is the girls who are trafficked are coming from very poor families, and they are many a times handed over to these traffickers very well in the knowledge of the parents of these children, with kind of a belief that they want to believe in that they are going to work as domestic help in other parts of the country, whereas they all know that what really is the purpose of allowing such children to travel. The mode of transportation is by and large through railways. What we have done, and of late we have been able to stop them at various points, but we have also faced a lot of problem because of this. That the children who are going, what we've done is basically that we've taken over the PNR system and we've set up the GRPs and the Railway Protection Force at the police station to go for random checks, especially in general compartments, and to run through the reservation list to find that 3-4 children if they're traveling with one adult to keep an eye on that. So they're at times resorting to reservations where it is easier for us to track, but most of the time they're taking these children to general compartments where you don't even require a booking. So general compartments we are checking, we are coming across such cases, we're trying to stop them, and we also a lot of times are facing a lot of resistance from the children who are saying we don't have an issue. She is an aunt of ours and we are going with her. So yes, it is a very sensitive issue that concerns all of us, and all I can say is that we are very, very alert and very, very interested in curbing this activity, which I would not say is totally curbed as of now. That is the first issue. Second issue that you raised is Section 46 of the CRPC does say that you will not go to arrest a woman in the evening hours when the sun is down and the sun comes up. And by and large we stick to that routine. And other provisions also which have been laid down, the police is very sensitive about it when it comes to the women. We have, as I said, set up women police stations. There are now currently in the 34 West Bengal police districts, 40 police stations which have been set up in the last 3 years. 40 women police stations, fully manned by only women. and they have been specially asked to attend to such issues that you are referring to, no matter what time of the day or night it is. But there are also certain issues and problems which arise, which we handle them individually as they come.
Good evening, sir. I am Samadar from Twali Club and I work in the Tatas. Two quick questions is that in police force, do you have any system of learning from the best practices worldwide? I'm sure you must be having a police conference, learning from something which is happening from, let's say, Scotland here or some other place. I just wanted to know. Number two is, in Tatas, we also have a system of recruiting LGBTQ. And it is there in many of the countries, many of the police force. This question came up that this creates nuisance in some of the street crossings. I'm sure the Calcutta Police Force has done a wonderful job in recruiting women, equal opportunity employer. And you must be also thinking in this line. Thank you.
So both are fairly easy to answer. First is yes, there are training programs throughout our record and service training programs. We definitely do specifically look into best practices from all over the world. And we are trying to adapt. And at times, I can tell you that the Indian police is almost on par in training in the technology when it is approved and brought about in the rest part of the world. Today, the world is very well connected, so if somebody comes up with the technology in the United States of America and it is effective, which is almost brought to our attention within the period of time, you can say about 1 or 2 months, and we try and adapt to that. So, that is the first question. And regarding the LGBT community, yes, recently an order has been passed with the government saying that they can even be recruited for police jobs. So it has recently been passed now they can join the police force as members of the rebel force.
Good evening. My name is my name is Narendra Gulati. I am a member of the club. I have an observation, and I would like your comments on it. When one is abroad and I see a walkie carrying, one feels very secure. Did he go to bed for it? On the other hand, when you are in India, if a walkie carrying, police constable is coming, you get scared. Am I right?
If only if you have a criminal intent of mind, you should be scared of seeing a policeman. Otherwise, I should be afraid of seeing a cop.
Anybody else?
I told you about those boys. They were planning to buy some illegal stuff and use it. They were scared the moment they saw cop. Other people felt very safe when he walked by.
Mamta Bhargav, ma'am, wanted to ask a question. Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malviya. That was very enlightening and very positive, whatever you told us. I just want to ask you, does the police force...
Ma'am, can you just identify yourself, please?
My name is Narayani Nath. I'm a permanent guest in this club. My husband's a member. Police force in India, all over India, the ones that we see, the visible ones, don't you have a basic level of physical fitness? They all look very, very rotund and pot-bellied and don't inspire very much confidence in the average citizen.
Definitely physical fitness is something that people expect police officers to be very fit, and that is the image of the police you see in the movies. But real life is not movie life.
Absolutely the opposite, yes.
And you are correct that, but we definitely have seen a major improvement in the last few years when it is coming to health and fitness in the police. The young recruits which are joining over the last 7-8 years I've been observing, you will definitely see a sea change in this in time to come. I'll give you an example. At the time we had joined a service, and as I said, police is a part of the society, is a reflection of society. As junior officers, we had our Deputy Inspector General of Police who had put in about 20-25 years of service. At that time, fitness standards were not so much, and they definitely used to look like BBC DIGs. Like they would put on weight, and fitness standards are not so much. There is a sea change. If you come across, even today, you come across senior IPS officers all over India, you will find fitness levels have gone up, and the same thing has happened in society. As I said, it is a reflection of society. At the same time, the friends of the DIGs whom they were mercenaries were also not as fit And with time to come, I see around me members of public are also becoming conscious about their fitness and health. And there is a sea change happening. It is for everyone to ensure that they remain as fit as possible. And we in police also are striving towards this to ensure that our coming crop of policemen is very, very fit. I don't think you will come across too many overbearingly overweight police people today in Calcutta.
Unfortunately, I have,
I
only see a very, very pot-bellied and portly men. Whereas the sergeants on the bikes, they look like very fit, agile policemen. They've gone.
You're saying athletic sergeants on the bikes are looking fit, and then the traffic policemen standing there also fit. That image you had of policeman like that film star was there, Pinchu Kapoor. That is now slowly going away. Slowly going away.
I am not referring to any policeman on the.
No, what happens is, ma'am, what he's trying to say is that over the period of time, when he's speaking about fitness in police, he's speaking about things that have started, say, about 5 years back. Now, these cops are about, maybe they joined service about 20 years back. So they're carrying over that legacy. Now, Manoj Malviya himself has been a very smart officer from time immemorial, and I've seen. And there's another top cop. Yeah, he's also
it's not a mutual admiration society.
So he's also. So what happens is that I know for sure that they have put in a fitness regime in place for the cops.
And then we also have now in-service training programs. Earlier they were not there. Police people have a very tough routine when it comes to the work that they do at the police station. They are overworked. They are not only into preventing crime, they are also into maintaining law and order. They are put on Halla duty when a VIP is moving. When there is, like today, a lot of police people are on the road because of Ram Navami festival, and similar things keep them engaged. They have to write the case diaries, they have to visit the courts, and that deprives them of the time required to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Now, of late, there has been a thinking, as I said, that they have to be given that kind of a spare time. Also, their working hours have to be eased, and in-service training programs have been built in, where by and large we insist upon what one of my friends earlier mentioned, updating them with the latest technology and best practices all over the world. And second part in the outdoor we insist is only on fitness, on trying to help them maintain, which is again happening all over society. People are becoming fitter over the few years that you will observe. So all around us you'll see the general level of fitness has gone up. Even in the police it is going up. We are making a concerted effort for that.
Thank you very much.
So we can go for 1 year. We'll have a couple of more questions before we wind up. So just gentlemen, Mr. Kakkar, there's new people who just wanted to ask a couple of questions. We'll just give them a chance. So he'll be there around.
My name is BJ Mukherjee. I'm a member of this club. I'm asking a question which may not be totally relevant to police, but may have an implication. The Thakuria Lakes, I go for a walk. Previously the timings were very less. Right now timings have increased slightly, but it is nowhere close to what was the timing before the pandemic. Now, after pandemic, everything has opened out. So why would the Thakuria Lakes or any other place not open out fully? Is there any police recommendation about it? That's why I wanted to know. I know it's not directly command of the police, but is there any police recommendation?
The timings are set up by the KMC, but this matter has also come to my attention from some other parks where people were going for walks. I have personally taken up this issue with the Commissioner of KMC about a week back. And we'll restore, I am sure that he is agreed, he will restore the timings back to what they were originally. So people can go for morning and evening walks.
Thank you.
Say one last, yeah. Man there.
This concern is correct. I mean, that has been pointed to me by many other people.
Good evening. My name is Kosturi Raha. I have a certain question to Mr. Malviya. When the transgenders, they come into the house in a huge gang, and if a little child is born, they come into the house and they literally attack the householders. They don't listen to the security guards. They just push their way in. It has happened recently in our home when they just saw some the clothes of the kids hanging, They thought newborn babies were in the house, and they wouldn't listen to the guards, and they just came in, walked in, washed themselves. And when we told them there were no newborns in this house, they wouldn't listen. So in that case, where do we go? Do we go to the local thana? They won't listen to us and the demands are so high. I understand they need some financial help, but the demands are just too much. So what do we do in that case? That is my question.
So
Thank you.
You correct. This has at times come directly to my attention through some people that I have known. When it comes to our attention and comes to any other perhaps senior officers, police attention, we definitely immediately send the police. Where they cross the limit, the police definitely interferes and drives them. When the police arrive, they run away. But yes, it is a menace. It happens once in a while. It's a problem society has been facing for some time. The best recourse I'll say is definitely inform the police station, inform them that they are now crossing the limit and trespassing the house and doing something like this.
Mobs are going dry, but still you see two very senior friends of ours sitting in the audience who have been raising their hands for a long time. I'll just ask Alka to...
Thank you. I'm Alka Karnani, and my simple question is that everybody is talking about physical fitness. What about the mental fitness? What importance is being given to it?
Yes, that is also very important, and we do have even sessions over here. In fact, the DG before me was very, very concerned about this, as any police officer will tell you, Mr. Viren, very fine officer. And he drove this initiative to a lot of the superintendent of police at that time, that mental fitness is perhaps more important than physical fitness. If the mind is fit, the body will be fit. And keeping that in mind, sessions for yoga sessions and even meditation sessions and even interaction with certain bodies like Shri Ravi Shankar, his agency has also come ahead and offered to help, and it has been organized. Sessions are organized for police people to address to these kind of issues also, so that the mind is also as healthy as the body.
Good evening, sir. My name is Vivek Verma. So a very simple question I just wish to ask is, why doesn't Vivek Verma feel in a comfort zone when if he has to walk into a police station? It could be not with a criminal intent or not being a criminal, but the approach to a police station, I don't know, there's some kind of a fear which comes in. The second was the traffic fines which you were talking about, that it's gone up and it would be a great deterrent. But it is also, I don't know if you all have looked into that the corruption, now the figure of corruption has gone up. A recent incident for overspeeding, I was told that my car has clocked 62 when it should not have clocked 60 and above. So I was sweet talked into it. I was told, the cop said he wouldn't want to, but since I have got registered and it's got into the system, I must pay. So I did cash, and I was told that I'll receive an SMS and a receipt will be given to me. But no receipt, no messages yet. It's almost a month. And the third is, we have some privileged class people in Calcutta on the roads. One is the auto guys. They are absolutely a menace. I'm sure you will say that's true. They decide to be on the red lights right in the center. Nothing happens to them. If I cross it, I'm sure I'll be booked. You have the motorcycle guys. Some of them, I believe it's mandatory to wear a helmet. But there are some who will just pass by a cop, zip past, 3 people on it. The family man with a wife is wearing a helmet and everything, and he's okay. But these guys, whoever decides, can go out and zip around and they are not fined. So I don't think it's an equal playing field. So
these are your 3 questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much.
First answer, please don't be afraid of walking to a police station. They are not going to harm you, it's a guarantee. It's more because of a collective unconscious that we have. The police was set up in India by the British, unlike, as I said, in London, where it was set up to help the people, the Bobby system was set up. In India, it was set up with a very clear aim of suppressing and repressing the Indian population at that time. The khaki uniform was associated with that. The acts were framed from 1860 onwards, and independence has happened 75 years. We're perhaps one of the first generations who are there around independence. Our parents were definitely there when independence happened. This is a collective unconscious feeling unnecessary is there that like police is something that we have to be scared of. Though I do agree to a certain extent, and it was earlier more and slowly it is reducing. It is by and large to do with the behavior which a person meets when he enters the police station. So the behavior of the first person you interact with at the police station at time can be not so friendly and a little intimidating is what some of my friends have also told me. So in the police what we do is the first thing that at least I do, which I've been doing for 30 years, is I remind each and every policeman who works with me to think of a situation where one of his own family members has a problem and he goes to the police station, and the kind of police station he would like his own family member to be meted out with when he goes to the police station. That same kind of behavior you please mete out to the members of public who come to you. So this is a slight behavioral change that we have been trying to bring about in our police force, which will go a long way. I have been getting, from the time that I joined service till today, the situation has improved. People do tell me, I keep on asking this question to a lot of people, okay, you did go to the police station. How was the behavior? This is the first thing that I like to ask people. And I have been definitely getting the response of a much improved behavior than what I used to hear about when I had joined the service 35 years back. And we still have a way to go. I think that perhaps will take care of the issue that you're talking about, that I don't feel comfortable when I walk into the police station. But if the behavior is very good, if the person meets you, greets you, makes you sit and listens to your problem, I think that will change it. Now, regarding the second and third question, I'm a little forgetting about the question. The second was about?
Enhancement of traffic fine, which says brings about.
Auto was the third issue. The second issue, I think, was
enhancement of traffic fine gives rise to corruption.
Traffic fine has gone up.
What he says is enhancement of traffic fine gives rise to corruption because he was fined something and he didn't get a receipt or something like that.
See, this is also something I keep on hearing too very often. I will not deny that doesn't happen. We keep on hearing many times from my friends, from families. As I said, if you have, I mentioned to you 1,000, 1 out of 1,000 person is the ratio that you have. For covering 1,000 people, there is one cop in the state. But each cop has immediate family connect of in India with our family system, so at least 20 people. You'll have your spouse, your children, then your parents, then your own brothers and sisters, their children. Any person can connect 20 people. Now you have a slightly bigger police family that now out of 1,000 you can say 20 are directly having some access to a policeman. And this issue, that is why what you're talking about does come to our attention once in a while. We definitely try and discourage it. And this is again something which slowly has to go away. It is part of the system which has been set up and the part of society which we discussed earlier also. So let's hope that we improve on that front also.
Last one, the auto thing. Auto thing is
that is also something we keep on hearing too in much harsher terms than what you placed over here. So I am aware of what you're trying to point out. And yes, we also look at that. Again, when it comes to helmets, if you see, I mean, like wearing a helmet or not wearing a helmet doesn't really cause any kind of a traffic problem to us. It is, we are doing again as part of community policing, that it is a matter of serious concern about the life of the person himself who's sitting on a two-wheeler without a helmet, because scientific data has shown to us a two-wheeler person, if he gets into an accident, the reason for fatality is injury to the head. It is in the interest of the member of the public that we are insisting that please wear your helmet. It has nothing more to do with that it will make the traffic better for us or anything better for us. But yes, this also is a problem. Autos at times, yes, they are also a menace. And these menaces, once in a while, we are handling. Once the limit is crossed, then like Totos had become a problem in a certain district, and we put our foot down. We said not a single Toto will be allowed. About 3 months back in Siliguri town, we said not a single Toto will be allowed unless and until they all go and get themselves registered. They went on a strike. We said go on a strike. The strike continued for 3-4 days. They all surrendered, fell in line. They've all registered. The ones who have not registered have been driven out. So we do face this kind of a problem once in a while, and we try to attend to them also.
Thank you very much, and we come to end of a very enthralling discussion right now, and I'll request, personally I want to thank Mr. Manoj Malviya for coming here and getting into a conversation which I personally enjoyed, and I also like to thank the members on my behalf, on behalf of our whole team. We'd like to thank the members of the Audience Club, especially those who asked questions. They were wonderful questions, trust me.
including somebody who said he's not comfortable getting into a police station. I'm sure I'm very comfortable getting into a police station because I don't need to go to a police station. So anyway,
thank you, Abhijit. Thank you, Mr. Malviya. It's absolutely wonderful to have you so patient and answer so many questions that the everyday citizen has. And we are deeply indebted to you, sir, for having spent so much time. Abhijit, you were, as usual, your mischievous best. May I request the Vice President of the club, Captain Sanjeev Dhir, to give a vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a fascinating and stimulating session addressing key and critical issues that impact all of us in our daily lives. On the onset, I would like to thank Mr. Malviya once again to be with us this evening and share his perspective in so many issues. Thank you, sir. We are deeply indebted. Thank you, Abhijit, for being the driving force, initiating and organizing this wonderful evening. And last but not the least, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here and being so participative in the discussion. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thanks, Sanjeev. I request our President, Mr. Jaydeep Datta Gupta, to come up. It's a small token of our appreciation for your having come to us. You are a member, but we are marking you AWOL, which is absent without leave. We haven't given you leave to miss out on talking. And also, Abhijit, thank you for being a moving force. We could not have seen Mr. Malviya if you had. Not as I said, you made it like miserable to get in here, but we are indebted to you too.
My thanks also to Mr. Malviya Butler, members of the committee, and very always talking, which allows me to place my points across to them. Thank you, sir.
और खबरों के लिए सब्सक्राइब कीजिए एएनएम न्यूज़, बेल आइकन दबाकर रहिए सबसे आगे।